Welcome to the Ruden Report podcast. I'm Dave Ruden, and we're coming off FCIAC Championship week, and it was quite a week, a lot of accomplishments, a lot of big stories. There were probably three athletes in particular in terms of the more publicized sports that really stood out. And we're going to have two of them on the show. The one who will not be on, Trumbull pitcher Trevor Schulke, the sophomore who led the Eagles to the FCIAC baseball title. I'm going to have a story on him on the Ruden Report Tuesday. And joining me in a little bit will be Adam Udell of the Staples boys lacrosse team, who had the shot heard around Westport when he scored 4 goals in a row, including the game winner 8 seconds into overtime to lead Staples past Darien and to their first FCIAC lacrosse championship. But joining me first right now is somebody else who we're pretty certain did a first, and for the 4th straight year pitched Fairfield Ludlowe softball team to an FCIAC championship. Only the second time we've had a 4-time FCIAC champion, and uncertain right now whether when Norwalk did it in the early 80s, whether the same pitcher pitched all 4 years. But we know somebody who at least is tied for the record, and that's Fairfield Ludlow's Alex Lewey. Alex, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks for joining me. First, you've had a couple of days now. We're taping this on Monday, Memorial Day. Have you been able to kind of process what you accomplished?
Yeah. Thursday, Coach Adam, he gave us off, so very relaxing, watching all the Instagram posts and videos that was seen from Wednesday. Still can't really process and understand what Ludlowe softball has done as a program for the school and just in the FCIAC in general. But now we're back in it. We had a fun practice on Friday, but now we're focusing more on states.
And you're also the defending Class L champion, so you've
Yes.
got one more to set out for. First of all, let's just talk about your performance in the FCIAC Championship. You came within 1 inning of pitching 3 straight shutouts. Ridgefield got a couple of runs on you. I think unearned runs, maybe. I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you didn't allow an earned run in the tournament, and you guys came within an inning of 3 straight shutouts. You beat Ridgefield 5-2. What was that feeling like? Because as we'll talk about in a while, a lot of people minimized early in the year what you might be capable of accomplishing.
Yeah. So starting off in the beginning of the year, losing the seniors that they all started, they were amazing, and no one really thought that we would be anywhere where we are now. So to kind of put that in their face and have them understand that even though we lost the seniors, we're still Ludlowe softball and we can still win again. For Ridgefield, in the Darien game and in the Trumbull game, we've as a team struggled in the 7th inning, kind of knowing that when we're up that we could win. And I think we get in our heads a little bit, us as a team, which we had the last out an error, which kind of sucks, but they got a double, which that was on me. But I think we get in our head a little bit in the 7th inning, knowing that we won, well, hopefully we won the 4th-time FCIAC champ. So I think in the end of the inning, it was a little bit tough, but we got through it, which was good with only 2 runs. But it would have been good to get a shutout for 3 times.
How satisfying was it once that final out went down? I like that picture my photographer got of you and your catcher there pointing at each other. But how satisfying was that when the final out was recorded?
It was amazing. I know as a team, well, at least me and a couple other people on their team, we were kind of upset how we played in the 7th inning. So as joyful as it was, we didn't get to celebrate as much as I wanted to, but we were still incredibly grateful of how we got the outs and that we only let up 2 rather than any more.
And this was a really big year for you because the first few years you split pitching with Anna Gida. I know the coaching strategy. You also had a first year coach this year too. So you guys not only lost a lot of people, but you lost your head coach. And I know his thinking was have you pitch 4 to 5 innings, and then when it got to be the third time around the batting order, have a new pitcher in there and kind of split things up. So not only were people wondering what was going to happen with the team with everybody you lost, but this was going to be the first year that you were going to go a full 7 innings. I'm guessing nobody wants to not play the whole game. So I'm guessing as much as and you bought into everything, into what happened. You weren't complaining or griping. And I wrote a story on you at the beginning of the year. In fact, you spoke about how well it worked for the team. But I'm sure you're excited to get the ball and get to go all 7.
Yeah. It was definitely an adjustment not having Anna to close. In the beginning of the year, I had to build up my stamina and work harder in the end of the inning. I had to like pace out how much of my energy I used throughout the game. Another thing that we kind of had to switch around for was like our pitch calling. So in the beginning, I haven't shown them all my pitches, so we can hold back on some and be able to, once we get to the third time through the lineup, we can use my other pitches that they haven't really seen so that we can keep them off balance still throughout the game.
Early in the year, was it hard going the first couple of games? Was it difficult going all 7?
We had 3 scrimmages, and I was hoping to get an adjustment with those, but I started all of them, and then we had our 2 other pitchers come in. So the first game that I went was Law, and we lost 2-0. The 2 runs that I gave up were in the first inning. So I don't think that me having to go the whole game really affected that game. I think it was more about the nerves that we knew we were playing a good team, and it was the first game of the season and we just had to shut them down. But I think that in the beginning of the season, I had to make more of an adjustment and learn from like past games to make sure I preserve most of my energy for the end of the game.
I know we spoke about this also when we did the story, but probably the biggest question mark hanging over the team at the beginning of the year was going to be not the pitching, but the offense, because you lost a lot of your top hitters, and I remember talking to you and you said, if we get the offense, we're going to be okay. And you were confident you were going to get the offense, and that turned out to be true. And as a matter of fact, offense was also a strength of the team this year.
Yeah. Coming out of the state championship last year, the juniors at that time and now seniors, we knew that we had to make an adjustment during the winter and really work with our hitting and not slack on any of that. And I think it took a little bit to get our hitting there, but now like postseason, like we've had an insane amount of hitting than in the beginning of the season. I think we're really working towards being the best team that we can. And I think if we keep going with that, we have a really good chance at winning states.
You guys started out 3-2. You lost to St. Joseph 5-3. St. Joe's was probably Ridgefield and St. Joe's were probably the 2 favorites at the beginning of the year. Did the loss to St. Joseph put any doubt in your heads, or was it the fact that it was a competitive game? You were confident you could beat them the next time?
Losing twice to them, it made me a lot more confident in winning if we played them again. So when they lost to Norwalk, which was a huge upset, there was some relief, but in the back of my head, I kind of wanted to play them again and beat them, which was tough. But I think if we did play them again, we would have beaten them.
That really changed the whole dynamic. St. Joseph losing, even though, Norwalk has a good pitcher and, is a strong team, but that sort of changed a little bit real early, the whole dynamic of the tournament.
Yeah. We knew coming into it that we were gonna see either oh my gosh, Ridgefield or St. Joe's. And I think coming off of the Norwalk's Ridgefield game, I wanted to play Ridgefield. We didn't really see Maddie Collins. We didn't at all our game against them, but we saw Maddie Pickett and we knew that we could hit her. So we were hoping that we saw Ridgefield in the championship. But after St. Joe's, I wanted to play them again, but we weren't able to. So
You lost 2 of your last 3 games, so there's an asterisk, I think, to one of them. One was Darien, and that was a 2-1 game at 11-inning marathon. That was the game Darien's Vivian Knott really emerged as a pitcher and kind of made Darien a contender. A long game, and then last game you lost to Trumbull, but that game you didn't pitch, right? That was a 9-5 game that they were resting you, so that game kind of gets an asterisk put next to it. But I covered your first playoff game against Darien, and I'm talking to all of you. It seemed like that Darien loss maybe helped you out just in terms of recalibrating the team and reminding you guys that you can lose very easily to a good pitcher and maybe refocus.
Yeah. Darien, the first Darien game was also our senior night. So we had a lot of stuff in the beginning that we had to plan for. We weren't focused as much as I wanted to be in the beginning of the game. We also saw Vivian, we noticed that in the beginning of the game, she wasn't doing as good as she did later in the innings. So then coming back and playing them again, we knew we had to score early, which I think that helped us a lot. And losing our senior night made us want to very much win. But definitely seeing the adjustment of how she picked up at the end of the game, we knew we had to score on her early, and knowing that she's also a freshman pitcher, she hasn't had that much experience in high school in the circle. So if we got on her and scored, she would get more tired and hopefully let up more runs.
And then you were in a weird situation where in the first semifinal game, Ridgefield and Norwalk played a 15-inning marathon. What was it like? And I looked over the story that Jeff Jacobs wrote for the Ruden report, but I guess you warmed up a couple of times, stopped, warmed up a couple of times. And then they decided they were afraid that your game could get suspended by darkness midway through, and they didn't want to interrupt that. What's going through your mind when you don't know when the game's going to end? It ends much long. It takes much longer than you expected. And if you had gotten the vote, would you have rather just tried to pitch right away? You were ready, or you were fine with having to wait a day?
I wanted to wait a day after, I think the 12th inning. It became very clear that we weren't going to play. So I warmed up as a normal game, thinking that Ridgefield and Norwalk were going to play a 7-inning game. And then I think after the 9th inning, I stopped warming up because it was almost, I think, 5:30, which was later than our game was supposed to start. So I talked to my coach and we kind of settled that if we do play, I would do a quick warm up, and if we don't, then that's good. And that I haven't thrown much. And I think playing on Tuesday too, not being able to play at Fairfield kind of sucked for our quarterfinal or semifinal. So we played at Ward, which was still in town for us, which was very nice. But I think it was nice that we had a whole day to plan, and I got to do my full warm up for Trumbull too.
So you beat Trumbull, and then now you've got to go back to back. Was that difficult or not really?
The last time that we went back to back was Ward, and then we played Ridgefield back to back. So The Ward game, I didn't do so well. And then coming off of that game, going straight into Ridgefield, I think for me, I almost threw one of my best games. So I was confident in the fact that I played Ridgefield again, coming um off of a double game too. I think that was really nerves going into it, that I've done it before. I definitely saw the difference between Trumbull and the Ridgefield game. I was very on Trumbull. I threw a two-hitter. I had an amazing spin, but going into the Ridgefield game, I was definitely more tired because I put a lot more of my energy into the Trumbull game. But I think I evened it out, and we still did good for the Ridgefield game.
When you got to Ludlowe, did you ever think we'd be sitting here right now talking about you pitching, winning 4 FCIAC championships? I've been covering the league a long time, and I've seen the best of the best, and nobody's done what you've done. Did you what? Nobody goes into their freshman year saying I'm going to end up winning 4 FCIAC, pitching 4 FCIAC championships in a row.
Yeah. I remember my freshman year, we were doing the winter league in the dome, and Anna, I remember her dad came up to me, and he said, her back at her, and you're gonna have to pitch. And we were playing Massic, and we knew going into that game that it was like they were insane, and we won 2-1, and that was the first full game I pitched. So that, I think, gave the team and a lot more confidence, because I know that I've had them tell me that they thought we weren't going to be good at all my freshman year because Anna got hurt. So that, knowing that my freshman year, made me want to try harder. And the year before, my 8th grade year, I was struggling if I wanted to pitch or not. So going back at that, glad I made the decision that I keep pitching.
Why were you thinking about giving up pitching, and where would you have played if you had given up pitching?
If I didn't pitch, I'd be probably in the outfield. I played right field when I didn't pitch. So I was going through the time where everyone was like a pitcher at some point in their life. So I was going through the point where, do I want to pitch or do I want to play the other positions? So I also was on a team where there were better pitchers, so I didn't really get the chance to pitch a lot. So I was deciding between getting more playing time or continuing pitching, where maybe I wouldn't play as much. But I'm glad I did. Thank God.
Worked out pretty good for you. Now,
Yes.
Before the season even, you decided you'd given a verbal for to pitch in college, and then you changed your mind and you decided you weren't going to play, and decommitted, and now you're headed to Quinnipiac next year. What made you decide to give up playing softball?
Well, I know I wasn't giving it up because I'm going to play club. But I think the stress that softball has brought me throughout high school isn't really something I want to be doing in college on the division level. The school I chose, I think I chose on a whim. It was more out of excitement than I really took time to think about it. It was too far away for me. Financially, it wasn't really good for my parents. So I think that I made the right decision, and that I'll still play club in college. So I'm not giving up softball totally, but I'll still play the sport.
Well, it's been quite a run for you, and I see behind you the All-State plaque. I have a feeling, make room. It looks like you got a little room next to it, because I have a feeling you're going to have to make another addition there in a couple of weeks. But Alex, I've gotten to cover you through this run, and you're not only a great pitcher, but you're a better person, and what you accomplished has been fantastic, and you got one more title out there. So I want to wish you the best of luck in pursuit of that, you and the Falcons, and thanks for taking the time here.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
And we'll be right back with Adam Udell. We're back, and again, I want to thank Fairfield Ludlowe pitcher Alex Lewey. And now we're going to go from the softball diamond to the lacrosse field, and one of the most dramatic sports endings I've seen in some time, and maybe the biggest high school sports celebration I can remember seeing sometime. You've probably heard and read about it, but Staples boys lacrosse team down 6-3 going into the fourth quarter against Darien, gets 3 goals to get into overtime, and then on the opening play in overtime gets a goal 8 seconds in to win their first FCIAC title. And all 4 goals were scored by the same person, and he's with me right now, Adam Udell. Adam, thanks for taking the time here.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
Okay, I'm a Westporter, so tell me the truth. Have people been stopping you in Westport and congratulating you? Do people notice you walking around town?
Yeah, I mean, mostly like the kids in the school. Everyone's saying congrats, but it's all the boys that are getting a lot of love right now. It means a lot to the community, so I think everyone's talking about it, and just everyone knows all the guys on the team are getting a lot of love right now.
Okay, if I put you on one end of Main Street and you and I took a walk to the other end, how many times would you be stopped right now?
I don't know, but
I'll put the over under on 3.5. How's that?
it was definitely got a lot of attention. A lot of people know about it. But yeah.
It was cool, and it was a team effort, but you got to, when you score the goals, you're gonna be the focus of attention. So first of all, have you been able to process in these few days what you've done? And I mean, to me, it's like what when you're a kid and you put your head on the pillow, this is what you dream about, and you got to live it.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely awesome. It feels great. But I think I'm just more focused on like the fact that we did it as a team. Like all the guys, we've worked so hard, especially like we didn't have the regular season we wanted, and then to come down and beat 3 really good teams in the FCIAC and in tough games. I think just the fact that we won it all, first time in program history, is really what we're all thinking about right now.
Okay, we'll get to the end of the season and where you guys were at the start of the tournament, but you scored the first 3 goals on Thursday night. Darien gets one back, and it's 3-1 in the half. And then they absolutely dominate you guys in the third quarter. Did to you what you guys would end up doing to them. But they take a 6-3 lead. They've got all the momentum. Draw controls they're probably 35 to 40% when people didn't think they were going to be that high. What's the mood in the huddle before the start of the fourth quarter?
Yeah, I mean, props to them. They had a really good third quarter, almost perfection for them. We didn't have the third quarter we wanted, but we knew like they're a good team. They're gonna come out with fire. It's the finals. Like they got to give everything they have. In the huddles, we're just trying to stay composed. The coaches are keeping us trying to give energy. That's been like the main focus. Something from the beginning of the season for us is just having energy. We noticed like when we have energy, it's just we play so much better. So the guys on the bench are trying to rally up the guys that are on the field, just trying to stay positive. So in the huddles, I got kids touching me on the shoulder like, hey, we got this, like just trying to keep my head up. I know Josh, who he should have been the MVP, honestly. I mean, he made the last save. He's been the best player on our team. Yeah, I mean, he's unreal. Every time that I was like, come on, like you got this, just stuff like that. Everyone's just trying to stay positive, and we knew that we just had to trust what our coaches have been trying to teach us this whole year, and I mean, it worked.
And you had a 6'5" Mark McNamara following you all over the field. You scored a goal in the first quarter, but he did about as good a job as it's possible to do on someone like you for going into the fourth. So are you a little frustrated individually at that point? And is there a part of you, knowing that you're such a key part of the team, that felt you had to step up and play a more prominent role?
Yeah, I mean, we knew, like scouting report wise, like he is their best defenseman. He's a really good player going to Penn State. I've been playing versus him my entire life. Like I know he's a really good player, and he was even taking faceoffs for them. He was doing basically everything. So I knew he was a really good player, but I mean, yeah, I was a little frustrated with myself. Didn't have the great first 3 quarters, basically, with him in my hands following me around. But I knew I just got to get one going, something going for me. And I mean, I felt like I could beat him when I needed to. But he's definitely, I mean, he gave me trouble the first couple of times I tried to dodge him, and he's 6'5", really good with his stick. But yeah, I just needed to switch it around. I felt like we needed to get something going. And I mean, Tristan Schaefer did a great job in the first half. I mean, he was great all game. He's been great all season for us, but I felt like I needed to get something going for sure.
Okay, play starts in the fourth quarter. On the first goal, are you thinking to yourself, okay, I got to start something going here, or did you see something, or a little bit of both?
Well, I think that was our first shot in the second half. Actually, was that the one that I scored, the first one. So I think that we were just a little bit worried that like we knew our defense would keep it close the entire game. We're just a little bit worried that, I mean, it's been a problem the entire year. Is our defense has been unreal. I think they're the best in the state for sure, but our offense hasn't produced the amount that we've really wanted. So that was the only thing that was a little nerve-wracking. But I mean, when we got the first one, I think it was just from a team standpoint, like we all knew we had to get it going. It wasn't like any individual, anything. Like we just had to get it going. Set up our plays quickly. No time, no clock management, no all that. So I think we did a really good job as an offense of getting our personnel on the field pretty fast and then getting right into what we wanted to run.
That was certainly the catalyst that helped stave off what they were doing, and lacrosse is a game of momentum, and kind of was the kickoff point for your run. Then you get 2 more goals, and I think they're all in a span of like 4 or 5 minutes. You get now it's 6-6, and what's you guys kind of feel like, okay, now we're in control?
Yeah, for sure. I think we had all the momentum, played a really good last 7 minutes of the game. And then we knew in overtime, it's something that I've mentioned earlier, something that we do a ton, game situations, especially overtime, game to one. I mean, you could hear it from probably the sideline when the clock ticked down to 0 at the end of regulation. I'm running off and everyone's like, game to one, like this is what we do. Like it's just something that we replicate in a ton of practices. So we knew Cisco was going to go out there and win the face-off, popped it to himself, and Mark McNamara once again doing a great job at the X as a pole, but we had a quick timeout call just so he couldn't get his stick in the way, and then we just set up our play.
So basically, just to add to the drama, both goalies had to make big saves at the end of regulation. Carter Hagan for Darien and Josh Marcus for you, who played a spectacular game. He kind of got a little bit overshadowed just because somebody does what you did, the spotlight's going to go there. But Josh played a tremendous game, as you mentioned. So you set up the play, so you can call a quick timeout, because the way your coach Will Kashansky explained it to me, he wanted you at the 50. He wanted to give you room, and then I found this out subsequent to when I interviewed you, but he basically said to you in the huddle, "What do you want to do?"
Yeah, I mean, he did say that. I think that we all knew like we were gonna run. It's a play that we practice all the time. We try to replicate it, like I've been saying, just the same thing over and over again. So we have so many reps at it. So it's just a dodge from up top. And the reason they called that timeout at the 50 was because this way they can't ride, so we don't have to go backwards. They have to come from the side, so I could get over the 50 quickly, and then we got right into it. You have like 10 seconds to get it in the box. So instead of going to get a touch and taking our time to get into it, we just went right into it from the 50, and I had time and room with my hands, so I just let it go.
The way I've been describing it to other people and people who don't know lacrosse, I said if Hoosiers was a sports movie, what you did was the last scene, Jimmy Chitwood, I can make it, and a couple of dribbles, and you're a basketball player too. So is that a pretty good analogy in terms of from a lacrosse standpoint, what that last play was like?
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
So basically, you got it. It looked like, I'm not a lacrosse expert, but you got a step ahead of McNamara. So you had a clear shot, and then you just placed it perfectly high side. The ball rips the net there. What well, I don't know if you could even describe what happened next.
No, I mean, I didn't even know it hit. He did get a piece of it. Carter Hagan, it was really good goal. He got a piece of it. So at first I didn't really know if it went in. Then finally I saw it hit the net and drop in. I just turned around and threw my helmet up and just started celebrating with the team. I mean, it was an amazing feeling.
I mean, what's that like? You're joined by your teammates, and you guys go over to the student section. You got somebody running around with a Staples flag there. I think Caleb Smith got hold of the flag afterwards, and it's just bedlam because it's not like contained on a basketball court. You guys get to just to run all over the place there. What was that whole scene like?
I mean, it was unreal. It's amazing. Just celebrating with all the guys that we put in so much work with for the past couple of months. I mean, we've been playing. We started lifts like the second day of school, and that's what people don't see is as a team off season, we're doing so many things together to prepare for these moments. So just to see that it paid off in the FCIAC playoffs, I mean, it means the world to all of us.
And you had an unbelievable tournament, not just the games in the 3 games, and it was your revenge tour. You got to beat before that Wilton, and then you absolutely stunned New Canaan, which was the top seed regular season champion.
Yeah.
And he scored the first 10 goals of the game, which I've never seen at that stage when you got 2 good teams, one doing what you guys did to the other. But you had 8 goals and 6 assists in the 3 games. So what you had a good season, but you weren't average, you weren't doing 8 goals and 6 assists every 3 games. So
Yeah.
happened. Was what you did kind of just a microcosm of what the entire team did?
I mean, I think it's just guys, again, once guys stepping up in all positions, it opens up so much more. The first game, I think through the first 2 games, we had 11 different guys score. So when a team has to focus on 11 different guys who could put the ball in the net, I mean, it makes it so much easier for everyone else. We have freshmen stepping up, sophomores, juniors, and seniors. So when everyone's there to make plays, when it's their time, I think just makes it easier for just other people to step up and make plays.
And just to put into context for people who may not know, the way they have divisions set up in lacrosse, they have the top tier teams in their own division. So Staples is in a division with 6 teams. Bless you there. And you guys went 1-4 and it not only beaten, but you beat Greenwich. But so you had to go and play all teams that you had lost to. I know talking to your coach Will Kashansky, but after the Wilton game, you guys, part of the angle for you was revenge tour. Let's beat all these teams that beat us.
Yeah, I mean, we know the FCIAC is just great competition. So we're gonna run into 3 really good teams, and it happened to be the 3 teams that have beaten us during the regular season. So just use that as motivation.
What was the mood of the team coming off that regular season when I know you guys felt like your record was not indicative of the talent level? You guys had a lot of big injuries, especially on attack, Ben Burmeister. So what's the mood as you get ready to start the tournament?
Yeah, I think we were just really ready for playoffs. We knew we were going to be well prepared because our coaching staff does a great job of that each year. So just focusing, taking it one day at a time, really good practices before the first game versus Wilton. And then once we got it going, we knew like we just beat a team 9-1 that beat us early in the season. So why can't we beat 2 other teams that have beaten us? So just using that as motivation really helped us.
What's different about the records over those 5 days than the one over the first month and a half?
I think we're just a much tougher team than we were in the regular season. All over the field, winning ground balls, the 50-50s. I think we made them 70-30 us, 80-20 us. And that was the biggest key for us that we focused on this week was how tough are we going to be when it comes down to the tough ground balls or riding and stuff like that. So, I mean, we rode at a terrible rate this year. And in the playoffs, we did a much better job of that. We were hungry for those extra possessions, loose balls, everything like that. So I think that was like the biggest difference for us is we played much tougher than our opponents, and that just allowed us to, play freely and do what we do.
This wasn't your first dramatic performance in your career. Last year, you're also a member of the basketball team, and in the state semifinals, I forget how many points you guys were down, like 15,
18.
18. Okay, I knew you'd know.
Yeah.
At the end of the game, you get a steal and the game-winning layup to get you guys into the state championship for the first time in 60 years. You're at Staples now. What's been an unbelievable run for male sports? The football team just won a state championship. Basketball team the last 2 years has gotten to the FCIAC in the state finals.
Yeah.
Boys lacrosse, you're part of a boys lacrosse team that had never won titles before, that won 2 straight state titles, and now an FCIAC. The baseball team in the state finals and is one of the best programs. It's not like Staples sports had been bad, but it's it's as good as there is in the FCIAC right now. What are they feeding you guys? What's happening over there?
I think that there's so many multi-sport athletes, so you get to see like all these different coaches, and they all are, I think all teams have like really good coaching staff. So being able to I know a lot of our lacrosse players are football players who just came off of a state championship. So just like seeing how hard they had to work to win that state championship makes them hungrier for the next one. So coming off of a season where they win the state championship, they're like, we want to do this again. That's a great feeling. So coming into the lacrosse season, they're just ready to go for when playoff time comes. They're just they're gonna step up, make plays. They have the experience. And the coaching staffs are just special here. You see it in lacrosse. Coach K, he's unreal. And then we got assistants that are also the best of the best. So having all this experience in the lacrosse world, it definitely helps us.
I think there's something said for winning too, and winning breeds more winning. You look at some of the guys in your team. If you played word association with me with Caleb Smith, and I don't know if I say class guy or winner first, but I gotta think that's part of it. You guys, you're a multi-sport. All you guys are multi-sports on teams that are winning.
Yeah. Caleb's unreal at everything he does. He could pick up any sport at any moment. You see it in football, you see it in basketball, and you see it in lacrosse. He's really a difference maker all over the field. His presence.
And he played a great. He got overshadowed because he was on Picorni a good part of the game too. Talk about other players that were overshadowed in that game.
Everyone stepped up in this playoff run, and he's definitely a key piece for us. He's a top dog on the defensive end for a really good defense, best in the state, like I said before. So he's just doing his job out there, doing what he's told. It's really hard to go by him. Someone who's big, strong, athletic, and he's a vocal leader out there. He definitely makes his presence known.
You told me before we started here, you were a soccer player until you got to Staples, and then you switched to lacrosse. What led to that decision?
Yeah, well, I played full-time soccer year-round for Beachside, and then it came to high school, and I was choosing between – I was still playing basketball and lacrosse, but in the spring, I couldn't really balance Staples lacrosse and soccer, so I realized I just wanted to be a part of the program. Once I was in for the first couple of weeks, I knew this is where I wanted to be, and for the rest of my life, I wanted to be in the lacrosse world. So I wanted to play at the college level, the next level, and so I decided that it would be best for me to just quit soccer, really focus on basketball and lacrosse. Use the fall when I'd usually be playing soccer to just lift and get bigger and work on my stick skills and get some shots up for basketball. So I think that's definitely helped me.
I didn't realize Beachside. You are obviously an elite soccer player as well. You're headed. Fortunately for Staples, they still have you for a couple of more weeks plus one more season, and then you're headed to Michigan. What led you to decide on Michigan over what I'm sure was many other good options as well?
Yeah, the place is just unreal. Before I even committed there, that was really just like my number one choice. That was like my dream school. I think the place is just amazing. The lacrosse program is really good. I mean, they're top of the top in the Big Ten. They just won the Big Ten, which is unreal, back to back actually. And the academics are great. So I think it was just the best combo, and I felt like I fit in there when I visited. So I just knew that that was it for me.
Okay, now your reward now is you guys got a murderous track to try to win a third straight state title just because of the regular season. I mean, in the quarterfinals, you got to play Ridgefield, which that game could be a state championship game. And Ridgefield almost beat Darien in the semifinals, and Kyle Colsey played one of the best games.
Yeah.
And told you the other day, one of the best games I'd seen. So you have
Yeah,
to
he's
get by
unreal.
them, and then I think you have Fairfield Prep waiting for you, and you got to get by them just to even get to the final, and then maybe see Darien or New Canaan again. So that's quite an obstacle course there. What are you guys going to have to do to navigate it?
Yeah, I mean it's the same thing as our FCIAC playoff run. We're gonna play 3-4 really good teams, but we just gotta out tough them and stick to what we do, stick to the game plans that we have, and I think we could get it done. Those are 3 of the top teams in the state, but that's why we're playing the sport, because we want to play with the best of the best. So we're definitely excited. We're not going to shy away from any of those games.
Well, I have to tell everybody, and I'm not a TikTok expert at all, and I have a TikTok account for the Ruden Report. Only I wouldn't have a personal TikTok account. I don't go it on that often, but I posted 3 videos. I posted one of the winning goal, one of SC video put together for me of the 4 goals in the celebration. Excuse me, and then I put together the post-game interview I did, and I figured out the action videos are going to go viral, and they each got 18,000 and 15,000 views, which is quite good. Right now, the interview I did has 236,000 views, and we have everybody from girls talking about how cute you are to people admitting sorry to embarrass you there, but admitting or talking about how good a player you are. So what's it like to be a little bit of a rock star right now?
I'm really not paying attention to that part of it. Just trying to focus on the fact that we won and we get a chance to make history again by winning a state championship. But I mean, it's a little funny. I'll take that, I guess, but not really focused on that part of it.
Well, people always ask me who I root for, and I went to Staples, and I have been able to compartmentalize that a long time ago. I'm Staples is just another team right now I cover. But when people ask me who I root for, I always say I root for the best story. And when somebody scores 4 goals the way you did, that puts the challenge on us. How do we write well enough to do justice to what you did? But so you put the challenge on Sean Patrick Boley and I the other night. But I've covered a lot of great moments in high school sports, and that's one I'm always going to remember. I've gotten to know you well and the quality person you are, so I can't think of anybody more deserving of that moment. So I want to congratulate you. I want to wish you best of luck for a good run in the state tournament. And thanks for taking a little bit of time here on Memorial Day for talking with me.
Of course. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It was great. It was a pleasure to be here. I'm super honored.
Thanks. And that's this week's episode of the Ruden Report podcast. Again, I want to thank my guests, Adam Udell from the Staples Boys Lacrosse team and Alex Lewey of the Fairfield Ludlowe softball team. I want to thank Cooper Boardman for the sound editing. We got 2 weeks left in the high school season. State tournaments start Tuesday. Enjoy, and we'll be back next week.
Thank you.